The night it happened, the road was empty, the rain unforgiving, and single dad Ethan Ward had only one thought on his mind: get his 9-year-old daughter Mia home safe. But then, out of the darkness, a lifeless hand slapped against the windshield. A dying stranger lay in the mud, trembling, whispering Ethan's name. Even though they had never met. What Ethan and little Mia did next would shake their small town, expose a truth buried for decades, and change the lives of everyone watching. Ethan Ward had never considered himself a hero. He was a single dad, a mechanic, a man doing his best to raise his daughter after life had broken him more times than he cared to admit. Since his wife's passing 3 years earlier, every morning felt like a quiet battle, every night a silent prayer. All he had left was Mia, his bright-eyed, stubborn, sunshine in a human kid who somehow kept him breathing. It was a stormy Friday, and they were driving home from Ethan's late shift at the garage. The wipers were struggling, and Mia was humming a song she made up, something about pancakes and superheroes, when suddenly her voice stopped. "Dad, what's that?" Before Ethan could process her words, something slammed softly against the passenger side glass, a pale hand. Ethan hit the brakes so hard Mia gasped. There, lying half on the road and half in a ditch, was a man drenched in rain, barely breathing. His face was covered in bruises, his clothes torn, blood mixing with water. And yet, the moment Ethan stepped out and knelt beside him, the stranger's eyes fluttered open. "You? Ethan Ward," he gasped before collapsing. Ethan froze. "How does he know your name?" Mia whispered, gripping his sleeve. Ethan didn't know, but he couldn't leave him there. Something in the man's cracked voice, raw, desperate, pleading, hit him deep. He lifted the stranger into the truck with trembling hands, Mia spreading her small jacket over him as if that alone could save his life. At the hospital, chaos erupted the moment Ethan carried the man inside. Doctors rushed. Alarms blared. They asked questions Ethan couldn't answer. Who was he? What happened to him? How did he know Ethan? While Mia sat beside him in the waiting area, shivering from the cold and fear, Ethan squeezed her hand. "You did good, kiddo," he whispered. "Dad, did we do the right thing? We helped someone who needed us. That's always right." Minutes turned into hours. Midnight crept in. The storm finally calmed, but nothing else did. A doctor finally approached with a strange look, part confusion, part tension. "Mr. Ward, the man you brought in is still unconscious." But he had something in his hand. She handed Ethan a water-soaked piece of paper, barely readable but with a name written clearly. "Ethan Ward, urgent." Mia tightened her grip. "Dad, why would a dying man have your name in his pocket?" Ethan didn't know. But deep inside, something old and painful began to stir, something he tried for years to forget. But the night wasn't done. Not even close. Ethan barely slept. The next morning, the stranger was alive, but unconscious and guarded. The sheriff arrived wanting answers. Reporters gathered outside. Nurses whispered. Something about the man didn't feel random. And Ethan, ordinary, unnoticed Ethan, was suddenly at the center of a storm far bigger than last night's. When the stranger finally woke up, he asked only one thing. "Is Mia safe?" No name. No explanation. Just fear, so real Ethan felt it in his bones. "Who are you?" Ethan demanded. "Why do you know me? Why are you asking about my daughter?" The man's hands shook as he lifted them. "My name is Daniel Rowe. But years ago, I knew someone important to you." Ethan's breath caught. "My wife?" Daniel nodded slowly, painfully. "She saved my life once. Years before she met you." Ethan staggered back, overwhelmed. But Daniel wasn't done. "Your wife, she pulled me out of a dangerous life. When she died, I disappeared. But months ago, I learned something. Something about you. Something about your daughter." He swallowed hard. "Someone's been watching you, Ethan. Watching Mia." Every muscle in Ethan's body went cold. Daniel revealed a truth buried under years of silence. Ethan's wife had once testified against dangerous men who retaliated long after she was gone. They discovered Ethan and Mia existed. Daniel tried warning them, but those men found him first. They beat him, tried to kill him, and left him on the road, hoping Ethan would never know. But Daniel survived long enough to crawl toward the only person who could help protect Mia, Ethan. The sheriff listened. The FBI was called. Within days, the town became a fortress around the little girl who had no idea how close danger had crept to her doorstep. And through it all, Ethan felt something shift inside him, something fierce, unbreakable. He had lost his wife to fate. He would not lose Mia to fear. "I don't care who's after us," he whispered, arms wrapped around his sleeping daughter. "They'll never touch her. Not while I'm alive." Daniel, still weak, promised to help bring the men down. "Your wife saved my life. Let me return the favor." Investigations exploded. Hidden crimes surfaced. The men targeting Mia were arrested one by one. And through every terrifying moment, Ethan stood taller, stronger, transformed by the weight of protecting the one person who gave life meaning again. But the shock wasn't over. A week later, Daniel handed Ethan a final letter, one he claimed Ethan's wife gave him long ago, to deliver only when the time felt right. With trembling hands, Ethan opened it. In her familiar handwriting, it read, "If you're reading this, Ethan, it means our past finally reached you. But don't be afraid. You were always the strongest man I knew. And Mia, she has your heart. Keep her brave. Keep her safe. And remember, love is the one thing danger can never steal." For the first time in years, Ethan cried openly. Mia hugged him tightly. Daniel watched, grateful to finally fulfill a promise. What Ethan and Mia did that stormy night didn't just save a stranger. It saved their own future.